different broadcast.
It will.
It's great to see Devin McCourty. It's great to see Jason
You
McCourty.
got it right.
I got it right this time.
This right here is probably just good old over cover 2.
Any message for him?
Jason, love you. Devin, you could be nicer.
Wow, that is a really good. Was that Zolak that just said that, Dev? That's a good. That would be your Bravo Housewives tagline. Jason, love you. Devin, you could be nicer. That kind of sums it up, McCourty.
I killed David Andrews for that. Be nicer. That was the softest thing an offensive lineman could ever say to somebody. Be nicer. Come on, DA.
I thought that was Zolak, but that was Zolak for a little bit. Then you had Andrews. The whole world was back together. You are a 3-time All-Pro. You are a 3-time Super Bowl champion. You can catch you on NBC's Football Night in America. What was it like to have your preseason action the other night? It was fun to watch.
Oh, yeah, it was good, I think, especially getting back with the whole crew. We spent like an hour in the hallway before we actually did anything, just catching up, talking Olympics. So it felt really good to be back in there. I used to hate this time of year. Training camp was back as a player. Outside media, I love it. We got something to talk about. I'm all for it.
I love that you did, of course, the Sunday Night Football broadcast. You called games for the Patriots with your brother, which was amazing. And you guys took it over. You were fantastic. It makes me, want to ask you about this Kelsey deal. I'm sure you've seen it. $100 million for Brothers Kelsey with Amazon. I'm sure you're going to say congratulations, but let's get this you and Jason thing cooking.
Yeah, man, the Kelseys are awesome. I think what they do, obviously what they did on the field now, parlaying that into more. We're working. We're out here working. Jay's CBS. He's getting going. So hopefully someday my mom could be proud. We can sign a $150 million deal. You got to always be better. So, but no, it's cool to see. And I think it's opening up more doors for guys getting into this space and trying to have some fun.
Yeah, I'm sure your mom is not proud of you yet. That's the real headline here. She has nothing to be proud of you, McCourty's about. You guys had a podcast, though. Or is there any talk about bringing that back?
We've talked about it a little bit. It's harder now with Jay traveling to do games and some of the stuff we're doing. But the plan is to at some point bring it back at my house so I don't have to travel to him. So we'll see. What
was Jason doing on his phone when you were calling him out?
So we didn't know the camera was on us, but we were going to watch a replay of a guy getting hurt. But most likely, he's been at it longer, but I've always been the true pro. So I had to just nudge him a little bit and say, hey, lock in. I know Hammer worked with him before, Good Morning Football. The guy's not a pro. Nobody says bad things about him, but the truth is I'm still showing him how to be great at stuff.
Yeah, a true pro breaks news when he can, and that's what you did. In the broadcast against the Eagles, you dropped a little nugget about Tom Brady's broadcasting schedule. Let's take a listen.
Got Brady repping, doing games. It's going to be pretty good, I think.
He'll be back here at some point. I think it's week 5. I'm
probably
with,
Miami, right? Yeah.
I'm with CBS, so we don't talk about Fox announcers.
I know.
I mean, Fox has not confirmed Brady's schedule yet. You did, though. What do we need to know?
I loved it, too, because people probably was like, he talks to Brady all the time. The last conversation we had was me saying happy birthday to him. So, no, I don't know. I assume, week 5, he's coming that game. Why would you not come bring Brady back? So, hey, but if I did break news, like Jay said, he works for CBS. I work for NBC. I don't work for Fox, so I can't get in trouble. So I'm all for it if it is true.
I want to get to some NFL stuff, but I was reading, and it's not like this is a surprise, but congratulations to you and Jason.
Thank
because
you.
It's finally been announced. You will be inducted into the Rutgers Athletic Hall of Fame. What are the details? Do we paper, scissors, rock over who gets to go first? How are we preventing overlap? Who's making the speeches? What's going to happen?
We had to make a decision if we wanted to speak together or go separate, but we felt like it was like the same story, so we go together. I usually let Jay lead it off. I think everybody knows you always save the best for last, so Jay will open it up. I'll close the show, but truth of the matter is I heard they just didn't have enough guys to put in to the Hall of Fame this year, so they were like, hey, these guys look alike. Maybe we'll get a nice little buzz about it. They'll be funny up there, throw them in the Hall of Fame, so we got lucky.
No one walks the line of being like confident and jokey and humble like you do. Do you know that? You do a really good job of you take your shots and you know who you are, you're a made man, but you also have a humble aspect to you, which not many people can walk that line as finely as the great Devin McCourty. So you'll be closing it out. You were the headliner on that speech. Let's talk a little football here. Cowboys, right? We want to make the headlines. We have CeeDee Lamb. He signs a 4-year new deal with the Cowboys. There was an article yesterday that Clarence Hill wrote with a quote from Jerry Jones. Here's the quote. There's nobody, he said, so yeah, here we go. So hell no, there's nobody that could blank come in here and do all the contracts and be a GM any better than I can. The reason I don't let somebody else be the GM is because I don't have anybody that I will, and I don't even know what the rest of it is. Anyway, when you hear this, when you see this is going on, do you agree with Jerry?
I mean, for the Cowboys, I guess it is true. But, I mean, the way they handled this situation, it doesn't seem to be true. It seems like this deal could have got done a lot sooner. It would align CeeDee Lamb to be in training camp, i.e. Justin Jefferson. They got the deal done. He was able to do mandatory minicamp, come into training camp, get that team off and running. So this doesn't seem like the best thing. And then we still have Dak Prescott and Micah Parsons contracts sitting over top of their heads as well. So, hey, truth of the matter is he's been doing it for a long time. It's one of the most successful organizations from a business standpoint. They just haven't won any Super Bowls since '95, I think. So from that aspect, hey, best job security. A lot of other guys might not still have that job, but Jerry, I'm not mad at him. When you're hiring the general manager, it would be hard for me to find a general manager better than me too.
I mean, let's bring it to your NFL career. Kraft, how involved was? Do you think he was is he more involved than people think he is in that stuff, or does he sort of did he let Caserio, does he let Wolf do his thing?
Yeah, I think he was involved in the standpoint of he's the owner of the team. So when you do get a guy, like the times I've signed contracts, I would get a call from him or a text from him. I think he's involved in the knowing of it. He's actually a part of, the organization. I think you see sometimes some owners are more focused in the other businesses they do and they just own the team. No, he's involved in the fact of he knows what's going on. From my time there, I never believed that he was involved in making decisions. Let's get this guy. Let's get rid of that guy. We really need this guy. I don't think that's his role for the Patriots. Has never been, as far as I know. But I think he's definitely involved on a day-to-day of being there, showing up, and being a present owner.
Yesterday, Gerard Mayo, who we know and love, said that he sort of admitted Drake Maye has outplayed Jacoby Brissett in games. Not even just games, Dev, practice. Now, obviously, there's more to consider. There's full body of work. There's experience in game action. I get all of that. Knowing Mayo like Mayo, why hasn't he named a starter yet?
I don't think he's ready yet. I think one of the big things, Drake Maye's performance against Washington stood out. It's what everybody wanted to talk about. The best play of the day got called back and it didn't count. Mm-hmm. But to me, the thing that stood out even more than that was the offensive line play. Jacoby Brissett gets killed on the first series, and that's why he doesn't continue. There was 4 illegal formation penalties in the game. So I don't think they're going to say it as much, but I think the offensive line and what they have there is something they're trying to figure out before they name a quarterback. Because if you look at the beginning of the Patriots schedule, you have 4 of the better defenses in the NFL. You have Seattle in there, you have Cincinnati, you have the Jets, you have San Francisco. You got to be weary of sending Drake Maye in there when an offensive line that's still trying to figure itself out and saying, hey, go handle everything and give us a chance to win. I think you can really ruin a guy's career sending him out there. So I think they're trying to figure out that first part and then get to the quarterback. But I think they're happy. Drake Maye looked awesome these last 2 weeks, especially from being up there and hearing people say he's seen far back from Jacoby. It seems like he closed that gap. And like Gerard said, maybe even overtook it, but I don't know if they're ready to send him out there week 1.
Okay. Is that what happened to Mac Jones?
I do think Mac Jones' first year, it was way more secure. We had an offensive line. We had different guys that had been there for a while. That wasn't an issue. We had new threats, Kendrick Bourne, Nelson Aguilar, Jonnu Smith. We went and got all those guys. The next year, Josh McDaniels leaves, and what was surrounding was not the same. And I thought that was the spiral of it all, because the frustrations of dealing with that, it's hard to deal with for a young player. And I think they want to avoid that for Drake Maye. Yes, it's his first year, different than Mac. Mac had a lot of success his first year. But no matter what, if you don't have the pieces around a quarterback, C.J. Stroud, they go in, they get Shaq Mason, they make another trade for a left tackle. They have, a right tackle. Laremy Tunsil's already there at left tackle. You had some things built that he could come in and then just be himself. Right now, I don't think you can say, hey, if Drake Maye is just himself and he's a good player, this team can be successful. He's not to worry about a lot of other things.
You know, you were with David Andrews. It's so like it sounds like you're saying, and this I feel bad for Jacoby. Like Jacoby, go be the sacrificial lamb and go take lumps and get your ass kicked because we don't want to ruin the development of Drake Maye. And frankly, Jacoby, you can handle it better. It takes a special guy to like subscribe to that. You know, Jacoby, of course, he doesn't want to be that. He doesn't want to be the punching bag. He doesn't want to be the stand-in until it figures out. Being with David and sort of seeing it, you know, how it's shaping out. What does that look like? Can it get fixed? You're saying like not before week 1? Are we saying like early in the season? Like what has to happen, or how long do you think it takes, as it's clearly dependent on the offensive line, which I agree with?
Yeah, and I want to hit Jacoby is a great guy. I know him well, but you look at his career, Andrew Luck surprisingly retires. He has to step up and play in that situation. Yeah. Cleveland, Deshaun Watson's there, he gets suspended. So he's played in some poor situations, but I text David Andrews right after the game and I said, hey, Dave, I knew you were a good player, but I didn't know the whole thing would just fall apart if you didn't play a game. So, like, that's my worry. David comes back. It's going to look better than it looked Sunday night.
Okay.
Sunday night, it wasn't against the starter. So even with him in there, I don't know how it looks. You start playing the best of the best in the league, it's still going to be pretty tough. It's going to take a couple weeks, and it still might not get solved. I think they'll still win more games than people are saying, this Patriot squad. Like, I want them to. I'm getting verklempt about it. But I was looking this morning. At some point, the Jets took over as the favorite, which I find interesting because I think it was the Bills for a little bit. It's the Hassan Reddick thing plays large, right? They're the favorites to win the East. I'll ask you, if Hassan doesn't play this season, and I think he will, I think he'll actually show up like on Labor Day. Do you think they're still the favorites to come out of this tough division? I do right now. I think because that defense is so good, they've never played a game with Hassan Reddick. I just don't think. Is he going to have an impact? He's out on the field. Yes, he's one of the best pass rushers since he's entered the league. He's had a really good career so far. But I think for them as a defense, I don't think they feel like their defense relies on just one player. It's the overall, every player in their role, doing different things. They've always had a plethora of guys who play on that defensive line. So last year we looked at this team at certain parts. They were competitive, almost in the playoffs. And this was all without Aaron Rodgers. So I have to think, if Aaron Rodgers is healthy, this team should be the favorite. The key is going to be keeping him healthy. He hasn't played a game since he got hurt. And I know, like, it has to be some anxiety, some thoughts that, are going to lead into that opening game for him. And it's a big game against San Francisco. But I do like the Jets right now in the AFC East.
Hopefully they get Hassan Reddick back. It'll be huge for them. I saw you at Jets practice. We didn't see Aaron Rodgers at all in the preseason, probably the right move. How does he look to you? You have familiarity around him. You've played against him. Like, when you're watching him out there, even just practice footage or being there personally, at 40, coming off the injury, obviously the thing is keeping him healthy. How does he look to you?
He looks good. And I think that's the difference between practice and games. Practice is a controlled environment where no one's supposed to really be close to the quarterback. So there's this kind of sense of security and safety that you're not going to get once the game starts. So especially to have some new players on the offensive line, Tyron Smith, they're going to need to keep him healthy. He'll be a key part. But you look at Aaron Rodgers, what I love to see is still the drive, the joint practice against the Giants, the back and forth, throwing deep passes, hitting Garrett Wilson, that aspect of Aaron Rodgers, you can still see he loves the game and he still has a talented arm. He can still get the ball down the field. So there's no reason not to think that he can't deliver. Shoot, we all thought that last year. You don't expect to see a guy go down 4 plays into the season, but I expect him to go out there and play at a high level. But the truth of the matter is he doesn't need to be MVP Aaron Rodgers for this team to be good. The defense is that good that he just needs to be a good quarterback and be the best Aaron Rodgers in the clutch moments.
So why is everyone writing him off?
That's what we do. The guy, he's older. He got hurt.
Tom Brady left him off his top 5 list. And I'm like, what up, OG? You did it till you're 45. We're writing him off because he's 40? What? I don't get it.
Well, that's where we live. He got hurt last year. So now he gets hurt. You get to watch these new guys come in. And I will say, this is probably the best we've seen in a while of quarterback play with some of these young guys coming up because there was a lot of fear as Aaron Rodgers got older. Tom Brady's done. Drew Brees is done.
Yeah.
Everybody was like, what's next? Like, we don't want to see a bunch of bad quarterbacks. And then you look up, you have so many guys. But when I got on, you guys were talking about Joe Burrow. Then you went straight to Bo Nix, another rookie who seems to be a part of a special rookie crop of quarterbacks so far in the preseason. They've all played well. So I get it. He got left off the top 5 list, but I would say even like a Peyton Manning towards the end of his career, you might leave him off a top 5 list, but you're not going to leave him off a list to lead his team to go win a big game or like Peyton did in 2015, win a Super Bowl. And I think that's what the quarterback Aaron Rodgers needs to be, the guy that you don't want to play in an AFC championship or in a Super Bowl rather than the MVP, the top 3-2 quarterback. That's not important right now.
Does he instill the same fear that he, like, there's an interesting thing. I was looking at it this morning. The over-under for his interceptions, the lowest among, I believe, any starting quarterback. It's like 6.5. And I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. He's banged, like, what did I see? He's had the lowest interception rate in the NFL 6 times in his career, right? And then I have Trevarius Ward, and I have Diamador Lenore, that's his week 1 matchup, big matchup in Santa Clara. They're saying we're going to get picks off him. I want him to sign my ball. I'm like, I don't know if that's the smart decision to make. What do you make of that? Look at your face.
I love it because that's DBs. Like, we don't fear anybody. You want to go out there and compete, and they're going against the Garrett Wilsons of the world. Garrett Wilson looks unbelievable so far in training camp this year. So they're getting excited. Nobody wants to hear everybody talk about the quarterback and what they're going to do. And they played Tom Brady when he was in Tampa and guys got interceptions. So, yeah, you should feel that way. But I still believe Aaron Rodgers is a guy that completely healthy. I played him in 2022 when he was dealing with a finger issue. And we got into overtime. We didn't score after we stopped him the first time. We gave him the ball back. He drove down. They kicked the field goal. They beat us. So I still think, guys are going to talk about it. But when they're in practice or they're in a meeting and they're talking about, hey, 2-minute drill, this is what we need to do. There's definitely going to be a sense of fear that if you give the ball back to Aaron Rodgers, 1:40, 2 minutes and 6 seconds left or something like that, he can go win the game. And when you play a quarterback and you play teams where they have a guy who can win the game, as a defense and as a team, you got to go win it. They're not going to just lose it. And that doesn't happen every week. There's a lot of teams in this league who will lose games rather than go win them.
And I mean, Trevarius Ward wants an autograph. I remember a Logan Ryan pick 6 that he had Tom sign. So we'll see.
Yeah, we know. He shows this ball every 4 weeks of like, remember me? I intercepted Tom Brady. We get it, Logan. We know what you did.
We'll see if Ward can do it. I mean, Aaron Rodgers, that day that I saw you told me he would oblige and sign it for him because he's an OG. What is your season prediction? Give me some prediction about 2024, Devin. Either side of the ball. You're sick of talking about quarterbacks, so maybe hit me on defense.
Oh, let's go on defense. Well, I'll go big prediction.
Okay.
I'm going Detroit Lions Super Bowl. Let's see, like, Detroit Lions Super Bowl. I think the fear everybody has is that this team now is on the other side. They have to handle success. Everybody expects them to do certain things, how much pressure that creates. I was at that Giants and Detroit joint practice. Aaron Glenn was like, I thought he was going to have a heart attack. The whole time he's on the sideline, barking, going crazy. I just think Detroit and like what they built with Dan Campbell, they're the team that like, they don't care. They don't care if you pick them. They don't care if you don't pick them. You look at Amon-Ra St. Brown, you watch the receiver. He's pissed he wasn't a Pro Bowler. Even when they came in and said, hey, you're first team All-Pro, you could tell he was excited, but it was like, I should have been full gamut. I should have been Pro Bowler and first team All-Pro. So I still think they're trying to prove something. They have an edge to them. So I can't wait. We have them opening weekend Sunday night against the Rams. So it'll be fun to see what they get off to. I picked the Rams in that playoff game last year, and I was wrong. Detroit won it. So I don't think I'm going to make that mistake again.
Yeah, and Dan Campbell complacency is not in his bag. That is not in his dictionary.
Exactly.
He is amazing. And we can check out that game on Football Night in America where you can see Devin McCourty, a star, but still humble enough to come visit me on my show, which I love. And congrats on Rodgers and everything. Say what up to Doc, who I love, and you're living the best life ever, of course.
Anytime. It's an honor to be on the Kay Adams
You're
Up and
so-
Adams
you're
show.
so
Give me more invites.
You're so annoying. We love you, though, and we love your brother. And you need to stop being so mean, as David Andrews said. Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. You can subscribe right here to get the latest from the show and check out more of the best clips from Up and Adams, or go watch a few segments from other shows on FanDuel.